DMAX Students Speak is a recurring mental health storytelling series that takes place 3 to 4 times per year. It expands on what happens in DMAX Clubs to a greater audience. According to a recent study, 80% of college students report that COVID 19 is negatively impacting their mental health, resulting in feelings of stress, anxiety, disappointment, sadness, isolation, or loneliness. During the pandemic, this storytelling series is where college students share their personal mental health stories. They discuss how COVID 19 has affected them and how they are overcoming their difficulties by sharing conversations that matter. Meet Anna Park, a 2021 graduate from Calvin University, share her story.
To share how I know the importance of the DMAX Foundation in our campus community, I would like to share my story from the beginning. I was a kid with a very outgoing personality who was not afraid to share feelings or thoughts over anything with anyone. I loved making new friends and never hesitated to explore new places around. I was born in Philadelphia from parents who were both Korean. I lived in the States till I was 10 years old, but then I moved to Korea with my family. And I remember how different I was from others because of how I couldn't speak Korean well back then. So the way I talked and behaved seemed odd to other kids my age. They used to bully me by teasing how tan my skin was compared to theirs, or how I could barely speak Korean during class time. At the age of 11, I realized that if I were to act how I used to act in the States, I would forever become a loner. I acted as if I could eat spicy foods really well, even though I couldn't. I changed the way I dressed from wearing pink and purple clothes to colors that wouldn't catch attention from other kids. When I went back to the States for high school, I was shocked that I could no longer fit in like I used to. I became a stranger again and was bullied just like when I was in elementary school in Korea. They would make racist comments about the way I looked, the language I spoke through the phone, the food I ate during lunchtime. I was under great pressure and then reminded myself of how to fit in. The more I forced myself to become someone I'm not, and the more I contained my honest and expressive personality, since it seemed to annoy some people, the more depressed I became. During college, the pressure to succeed academically and socially suffocated me, especially during my freshman year. When I came back to my dorm, I would turn off all the lights and even my phone. I didn't eat or drink. At some point, I even stopped socializing with others. I stopped going to classes and ignored everything around me. The more I became depressed, I couldn't stop thinking about running away from my own life. But then, one of my closest friends forced me to have counseling on campus. And that's when everything started to change a lot. At first, I was very skeptical of trusting anyone, fearful that no one would really love me the way I really am, and extremely exhausted to even think about sharing my stories with others. However, the freedom I felt after spilling out everything inside of me truly set me free from my own past that had been dragging me down. It was a true relief to know that there was someone with great patience and compassion giving me the courage to seek counseling and take medication with no shame. Through continuous sessions of counseling, I was able to stop hatred towards myself. I learned how to accept the way I am by making life choices only for myself. I learned how to set safe boundaries between my family and friends. I began to do affirmations to take care of my mental health well-being every morning when I wake up. I would write journals whenever I have a hard time processing my thoughts and feelings instead of putting the stress and anger to myself or to others around me. I became brave enough to share what I'm going through with my peers so that I know I have a safe place to lean on when I need comfort. I looked at communities both online and offline who can give me advice and support I couldn't get from my family and friends sometimes. Putting myself out in the world as someone who needs help allowed me to enjoy the process of healing by meeting people with similar hardships and mental states and hearing their stories. Ultimately, I was able to find ways to cope with my mental health through a daily routine, embracing embracing mistakes I make along the way, and still never giving up to be a better version of myself. Dealing with mental health can be very lonely, painful, and destructive. Yet you must also remember that you were never alone and will never be. People just like you are out there who understand the grief and pain you hold on to every day. There is nothing more important than telling yourself that you matter. And even though life can get really ugly, you still deserve to give yourself another chance to start again. Don't take that chance away from yourself. Reach out to people for support because people like me will always be there willing to help and be a sister, brother, and a friend to you.